I booked a hotel that doesn't exist. And I know that because I never made it out. It started with a business trip I didn't want to take. My company sent me to a small coastal town, Greymarsh, a place no one ever talks about, yet somehow it always shows up on old maps. Hotels were fully booked that weekend, except for one, a brand new one. The Greymarsh Hotel. The photos looked perfect. Too perfect. A lobby bathed in warm amber light. Velvet furniture. No people in sight. The reviews all written by accounts with no profile pictures. But the price was cheap. And I was tired. So I clicked Book Now. The GPS led me through fog-covered roads until the world turned gray and silent. Even the radio signal faded. The only light was from an old neon sign ahead, half broken, flickering weakly through the mist. Greymarsh Hotel. When I stepped inside, the lobby was exactly like the photos, almost too exactly. Every chair, every lamp, even the smell of the air felt placed. There was no receptionist, just a small bell on the counter. Ding. Then I heard footsteps. A man appeared from a hallway behind the desk. His face was pale, his smile mechanical. "Welcome, sir. Checking in." His voice echoed slightly, like the room was too big for it. I nodded. He handed me a brass key with the number 301. "Top floor," he said. No paperwork, no ID check. He just stared at me until I took the key. When I stepped into the elevator, I realized the numbers on the panel didn't make sense. 1, 2, 3, and then nothing. No basement, no emergency button. Just a black mirror reflecting my face. When the doors opened, I was standing in a long hallway lined with identical doors. But something was off. The air smelled like salt and something else, like old wood after rain. Every door had the same number, 301. I thought it was a mistake until I heard one of the doors unlock itself. A faint click, then slow creaking. Inside, the lights flickered. A bed, a mirror, and a window showing nothing but fog. I unpacked my bag, turned to look in the mirror, and froze. The reflection was delayed, half a second behind my movement. Then it smiled. I didn't. I didn't sleep that night. The mirror kept breathing. Fog pressed against the window like it wanted to come inside. At 3:07 a.m., I heard the elevator move. Someone or something was coming up. The hallway outside was empty, but the elevator doors were open, waiting. The inside light flickered between yellow and white. There was a new button on the panel now, too. I was sure it wasn't there before. I pressed it. The elevator didn't move. Instead, the lights went out, and when they came back, the doors opened to another hallway, identical yet wrong. The carpet was soaked, squelching under my shoes, and on the wall someone had written, "You're still in room 301. There were no other guests, no signs of life, just the faint sound of dripping water echoing down the corridor. I tried to call the front desk, but my phone showed no signal. Only one notification blinked. Welcome back. As I moved forward, I saw a door slightly open. Room 301 again. I pushed it open, and cold air hit my face. Inside, there was a recording device on the table, still running. The voice playing back was mine, but I never recorded it. You shouldn't have gone to the second floor. He's waiting for you there. And then silence, until I heard another voice whisper from behind the door. Welcome, guest. I turned around, but the hallway was gone. Only a staircase remained, narrow, old, leading down into complete darkness. The sign above it read, "Staff only." I shouldn't have gone down, but I did. Each step I took echoed like a heartbeat. The deeper I went, the warmer the air became, like the building itself was breathing. At the bottom, I found an old storage door with the number 302 scratched onto it. Inside, the walls were covered with photographs, hundreds of them. Every single one was of me, standing in the hotel lobby. Different angles, different clothes, different days. At that moment, the elevator bell rang behind me. Ding. Soft. Familiar. I turned back. The doors opened, and I saw myself inside, smiling. He raised his hand slowly and whispered, "It's time to check out." And before I could move, the lights went out. When the lights came back, I was lying on the lobby floor. Everything looked normal again. The soft jazz music was playing through the speakers. The receptionist was back behind the desk, smiling like nothing had happened. He said, "Did you enjoy your stay on the second floor, sir?" I didn't answer. I just stood up and asked for checkout. The man tilted his head. "Checkout? Oh, sir, there's no checkout on weekdays." He slid a new key across the counter. Room 303. The brass tag was warm to the touch, too warm. The elevator doors opened on their own before I even pressed the button. Inside, the reflection on the mirrored wall wasn't me. It was still the other me, the one that smiled. He waved as the doors closed. When the doors opened, I wasn't sure what floor I was on. The numbers above the elevator blinked. 3, 3, 3, 3, over and over again. And the hallway was alive. The wallpaper pulsed faintly like breathing skin. I walked past the first door, 301, again. Then another 301, and another. The doors went on forever, until one opened by itself. Inside, a woman was sitting on the bed. She looked familiar. Her voice was soft, trembling. "You came back." I stared. It was my ex-wife, the one who died in a car accident 3 years ago. "They told me you'd visit," she whispered. "They said you'd check in soon." I stepped closer, shaking. How are you here? She smiled weakly. The hotel keeps what people lose. Then the lights flickered and she was gone. Only the bed remained, cold and wet, as if someone had just been lying there. I ran back into the hallway, but it had changed again. Now every door was open. Inside each room, people stood motionless, guests frozen mid-action, eating, sleeping, staring into mirrors. None of them moved. I shouted, but my voice didn't echo. It was swallowed by the silence. At the end of the corridor, a large sign flickered to life above an old archway. The third floor, where guests never leave. I turned back toward the elevator, but it wasn't there anymore. Just a single, endless hallway stretching into fog. And at the far end, I saw myself again, smiling, waving me forward. He whispered something, so quiet, yet I heard it clearly. You're not leaving because you never checked in. And then the lights went out again. When I woke again, I was standing in the elevator. The doors were open, waiting for me to step out. But this time, there were no buttons, only one small brass plate. It read, "Basement." And beneath it, someone had scratched 2 words into the metal. Don't remember. I didn't press anything. The elevator moved anyway. Slowly descending, humming like a living thing. The light above me flickered, and with every flicker I saw my reflection changing. Different clothes, different ages, different versions of me. When the doors opened, I was hit by warm, damp air. The floor below smelled like rust and earth. Water dripped somewhere far in the dark. The walls weren't made of concrete anymore. They were wooden, old and wet, carved with hundreds of names. And among them, mine. I touched the letters. They were fresh, still warm, as if the wall had just written them. Then, behind me, a door creaked open. Light spilled through, a faint golden shimmer. and someone whispered, "The hotel remembers everyone who checks in." I walked toward it. The air grew heavier. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. The door led into a massive underground hall filled with furniture, suitcases, photographs, clocks. Thousands of belongings stacked and dusty, each with a small brass tag, each labeled with a room number. I picked up a photograph. It was me again, standing at the hotel entrance. But behind me, there were hundreds of faces staring out of the windows. Dead eyes, waiting. Then I realized every object here was from a guest who never left. Their memories were stored, their lives catalogued like inventory. The hotel wasn't trapping bodies. It was feeding on memory. I turned to leave, but there was no exit. The elevator was gone. The walls had shifted, twisting slowly like they were breathing. And in the far corner, something was moving. A shape, tall, thin, its head brushing the ceiling. It stepped forward, and the air around me froze. No eyes, no mouth, but I heard its voice inside my head. Don't remember, don't remember. And I understood. The hotel survives only if people forget it exists. If they remember, it dies. And I had remembered. The walls started to collapse inward. Rooms folded into one another. Doors melted into the ceiling. And through the roar of collapsing wood, I heard the bell. Ding. The walls started to collapse inward. Rooms folded into one another. Doors melted into the ceiling. And through the roar of collapsing wood, I heard the bell. Ding. When I looked back, the elevator was there again, open, waiting. The button above it blinked one word I'd never seen before. Exit. I ran inside. The doors closed. The elevator started rising fast. And as it did, the reflection in the mirror behind me wasn't mine anymore. When the elevator stopped, I fell to the ground. The doors opened, and for the first time I saw sunlight. The sky was pale blue. The air was fresh. Birds were singing. I was back outside, right in front of the same old sign that said, "The Grand Mirage Hotel." It looked empty again. Dust on the steps. No staff. No sound. Just silence. I checked my phone. No signal. No time. The clock on the screen was frozen at 12:03 a.m. I tried calling someone, but every time I spoke, my voice echoed back through the speaker, as if someone was on the other end, repeating me, breathing with me. I turned to the road, but there wasn't a road, just an endless plain of fog. No cars, no lights, no horizon. The hotel stood alone in a world that wasn't real anymore. Then I heard it again. The elevator bell. One single ding from inside the building. But the hotel doors were locked, and on the glass there was writing, faint but clear enough to read. "Welcome back, guest 103. I froze. That was my room number. The same room I checked into. The same one that shouldn't exist. Then, behind me, I heard footsteps. Slow, wet, coming closer. I turned and saw myself. Another me, same face, same clothes, but smiling. He looked at me and said, "You checked out, but I never did." Then he walked past me, through the locked doors. They opened for him and closed again. I ran to the doors, banging on the glass, but my reflection didn't move. It just stood there inside the lobby, staring. Behind it, the lights came on, one floor after another. First, second, third, fourth, all the way up to the top. Then the elevator bell rang again. Ding. And in that moment, I finally understood. Nobody ever leaves the hotel. Not really. It just builds another version of you for the next guest to see. And the hotel keeps growing, room by room, memory by memory, until the world outside disappears completely. I think I left, but every time I close my eyes, I still hear the elevator. Ding.